Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome back. We got another episode of The Strange Road for you. I'm your host, Mikey, and of course, as always, we got Bub the Bro host, always hanging out. And tonight, we got a full house in Master Control. We got Stoner and Disbro helping out, making everything look and sound great, as usual.
We got Rollo.
And the prodigal son returned.
Right.
We have Rollo back in studio.
Right. We had to coax him out from his lair. He was laying on the beanbag chair. We're like, buddy, come on, man. We got a lower third for you probably and a bed and everything. Like
The lower third's covering Rollo. There he is.
Hey, he's a good boy. He just brings a good energy in the room.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's been hanging out all afternoon. But I haven't been bringing him on because my wife's off on Wednesdays on when we do Strange Happenings. So he just stays at home with her instead of him bothering us. And
He just sits at home. He's like, those guys weren't paying me in milk bones anyways.
No, not at all.
Right?
Oh, man.
Just leave me at home.
Yeah. But hey, guys, we got some announcements. I want to talk about Frogman Fest. We're going to be at Frogman Fest March 2nd in Loveland, Ohio at the Oasis Conference Center. Get your tickets now in advance. We're going to be out there helping out in the AV room, and we have a booth this year. So come and hang out. Bub will talk your ear off.
Yeah.
You know that for
We're going
a fact.
to talk. I would love to hear some stories. Say hi.
Yep.
Would love to meet some people.
Absolutely. And as always, you guys can find us at The Strange Road on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. The Facebook group is rocking and rolling. If you're watching, we appreciate all of you guys. Hit that like button right here, right now. And also share this video if you enjoy it. And make sure you hit that notification bell. Big time. Make sure you keep up to date on everything we got cooking. And also Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. Keep writing those reviews. We've been asking, and you guys have been helping us out.
Some. Yeah.
And we've been seeing them, so appreciate all of you. We've got an awesome... Am I missing anything? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think that covers all the mentionables.
Yeah. And everybody in the chat, everybody watching tonight, we appreciate the hell out of each and every one of you. This is going to be... we got a great episode tonight.
We do.
We have another returning guest from pretty fairly early on.
Yeah.
I say we bring on our guest for tonight. Please welcome back to the show one of our all-time favorite people, sound healer, author, artist, and singer-songwriter, Emel Michael. Emel, welcome back. How are you?
What's up?
Hi, guys. I'm good. It's so nice to see you and to be here with you all.
Absolutely.
We've been waiting to do this, and we kind of been messaging back and forth again on WhatsApp. You're currently still in Costa Rica, and we want to talk about a lot of things tonight. But just as a refresher, maybe some of you guys are maybe new fans of the content and haven't gotten a chance to go all the way back to episode 15. Can you believe that, Emel?
Yeah.
Time flies. You guys have been doing some great work, some awesome episodes, and I'm just so excited to be here again with you all.
Yes.
Heck yes.
Emel's what we call a returning champ, right?
She's on her own strange journey, and I love it.
Yeah.
Because, for me, it's just I want to check in. I want to see what's happening. You're going to possibly, be that charge for me to go, okay, I need to do this or that.
And I will tell everybody that's a good point bringing that up because it feels like...
Watch out if you're listening to this. Just caution, you might end up getting a wild idea to go start a hot air balloon ride company. You never know.
Yeah, exactly.
I might join a circus. You never know.
But I know after the sound demonstration you did when you were on our show, episode 15, it really blasted something completely loose in this studio and in our heads and minds. And I think after that, we really started locking in. And
you're
for
not
the
wrong.
next 12 months, we've tried to keep the train on the tracks. And I feel like that was one of the moments where you're like, wow, that was really powerful.
Yeah.
And that was...
But it is interesting, too. It feels like we're time traveling because we have had, you're a returning guest. We've had a couple other ones on, and it's just kind of like, oh, hey, where are you at? And where are we at? It's not just it's also, we're both on that same path, since day one. So it's just so funny, too, to be kind of like, how are you? It's so much fun.
So for those of you that might not know Emel, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
Give us a refresher on where you were the last time you were here and your journey to doing what you and your partner are doing now, which is amazing. And we want to hear all about that and your new books and everything else.
Okay, so again, thank you so much for this great chat and for us to touch base. So the last time I was here with you guys, I was living in a retreat center in the Diamante Valley in Costa Rica, and I flew over there having the experience of sound exploration and therapies, but that wasn't my initial thing work wise.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there for about 4 months, working with their social media to help them out and put my skills to the test in that area. And then, like, one of my main prayers actually at that center was for me to do my own sound exploration, with Dermot, to be able to actually bring people into a space and give them sound medicine with all the things that I had learned. But being there, it was a bit stifling. It wasn't really supportive, because they only dealt with ayahuasca, and that, this is the type of medicine some people are familiar with, which I had had before, whilst I was there, and I prayed hard whilst I was coming to the end of my journey in the forest, not knowing where I was going to go, and then boom, oh, I'm in Chiripo in the mountains. I used to draw the mountains all the time with me and the trees and nature and the rivers. And I found myself living a life where I had been praying for, maybe 20 years. And so me and Dermot decided to open up a sound temple. So rather than calling it Alma Magic Temple, it's Alma Music Temple. So being new to the neighborhood, people started coming to our sound journeys, myself, Dermot, and a lady called Viola, with multiple instruments. And I put in all the practices that I had learned throughout the years of, sound, the different tones, what sound actually is to us, to this space. And I've been doing it since for like 9 months, and giving one-on-one vocal lessons to help people, because that's another thing that I had learned within the experience of having a medicine that kind of told me this is something else that you can do. And color and sound is a very big part of that.
Absolutely. And earlier, before we got on live, you were kind of telling us a little bit about how you came to the conclusion of the sound work that you're doing right now, and kind of vibrationally and harmonically, and kind of how you got to the point where the actual music or sound therapy that you're doing. How did you tap into all that?
Well, if I was to rewind back to when I was 33, in 2017, it's giving away my age now, and I was going through a lot within my being, in my body, and in my dreams. I was astral traveling a lot. I was visiting planets, seeing myself as pure light and as crystal, off-world, and then also meeting a man, or what seemed to be a man, but very feminine and beautiful, like very tall, about at least 7-8 feet tall, and he had white hair with a silver disc on his forehead, and his arms were just sort of like in his robe, like you couldn't see his arms, it was like that. Very regal, and he was telepathically talking to me. And one of the things that he was telling me is that listen to the crystals sing. And so in the dream, I was putting out my hands, and I could hear them, different pitches. And then he said, turn around and face the children. So I turned around. There were these twins, beautiful, big eyes, great big smiles. And he said, do the same for the children. And their bodies were also singing. And whilst I was in dream state, I was like, why am I being shown this? I can hear the bodies singing. Wow, our bodies can sing? Oh, what is that? Oh, it's harmony, it's resonance. And he started saying to me, like, before we began as a nation, and a race of people had existed once before man, star children. And a dawn before man existed, there was a race. And so I'm writing this down, and then he was talking about, we are orchestrators of our truth, conducting our every move, reactive, so we move the way we do. Which path is it we choose? And can be as destructive. So he was telling me that sound could be destructive, or it can be harmonizing, and that he was talking about the frequencies, and we are instruments being tuned. So I'm like, as a singer, I'm writing this down. I was like, okay, so as a singer, I'm being shown these sounds exist. What are these sounds? It started the journey into the research of what these resonants are. What are these resonants? What are these notes? I obviously started breaking down that further, and that's kind of where it stemmed from. It was not from here. It's something that's ancient, so ancient. And then it obviously brought back into the ancient history. Words are very powerful. What you're saying can be very impactful. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, whether it's mantras, chants, prayers, or curses, they
Yes.
can be words, and vibrations can be used and tuned to do different things.
Well,
And kirtans, that's one of my favorites, is kirtans. I play kirtans for my kids. They zone out and they just fall asleep.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
When they were little, they just zone out and they fall asleep.
I was just thinking of mantras like neural networks, like in your brain, of how Zeus and some of other
Yes.
DMT and psychedelic researchers have said, you can get those pathways, and it's kind of like wearing down the grass. So you keep walking in the same path, and then it gets wired. So to go in and actually rewire those. So it's interesting.
Yes, all of those things. And like, for example, like Om Namo Narayanaye. Om is whose sound vibration is eternal. Na is no time, or no mine. And Namo also means I give my respect, my salutation. Narayana means the imperishable or the eternal, which is a quality of the divine. So whatever is infinite and divine, and the other way around, whatever is divine is eternal. And so what is eternal in humans? It is the soul. It is the Atman. And so here, Nara stands for the Atman. And the difference between the soul and God is not in quality, but in quantity as well. So it's like a drop. It's like the ocean. And so you're creating that vibration through words, even simple sounds, which I've put in my book too. So yeah.
And saying that with people banging on tablas and sitars going,
Right.
and saying it 100 times, and with a whole lot of people.
Well, think of it.
The chanting, that's where it gets. Whoosh.
I'll think of it like
intense.
I'll give you an analogy that makes it work for me. Is it kind of helps it sink in, right? Like the music helps vibrate to then get the message across the barrier.
It
Maybe
zones
easier.
you out to where you get in a meditative state because you're saying the same thing over and over again with that frequency, and it's just like
It's a brainwave state.
Yeah.
You reach a certain brainwave state.
Is that whole like hemisync, like between your right and left hemisphere? Isn't
like it.
Isn't that something that's I want to say it's almost like a CIA thing of like how they do like the whole remote viewing and want to get into that kind of stuff, is the whole, you can sync the different hemispheres of your brain, your right and left side.
Well, if you put it this way, what's come to me now is, if sound is a pattern, and a pattern carries information, and we had learned to dissect what that pattern is, like a hieroglyph, that's information imprinted within our cellular memory, and that can shift our state and our brainwave state. So, like cymatics, like for example, I've taken like images of the brain, like the crown chakra, for example, what that looks like under a colored cymoscope, and the brain alpha wave is exactly the same, like the same kind of pattern, and the same for like the heart sutra, for example, mandala is the same. So you're creating these messages within us through sound, and that's why even your intent. So what I mean by that is your thought is also a sine wave. So if you're coming from a place of like, I have to prove myself, the journey in itself or the sound journey is going to come from a place of not of heart. There's a resonance of the heart that has like that is very connected to the quantum realm, and it's very much like if we can be in tune with the person solely. And that's one of the things that I try to really sort of come into each session, that I'm having fun, that I'm coming of heart, and that they're bringing in the resonant tones, and I'm also going to be in resonance for everyone too.
And you did mention that no one's taking any kind of psychedelic, whereas before you were working in an ayahuasca retreat center. But this new journey you're on is, you said, totally, everyone comes into it totally clean, and the sound is the medicine.
Right.
So kind of give us a little bit of what were you experiencing on those ayahuasca journeys and some of those things versus this kind of clean, just purely sound version of therapy, or
Right.
Sound immersion therapy, I guess is what you call it.
I love that question, and thanks, Mike. And I think from experiencing taking medicine, medicine is obviously there's a vibration that's in this vine. There's two types of plants, and I would say that each person will react to it differently. There's some people that have gone into psychosis taking ayahuasca. So I would not recommend it unless you are completely clean and you are strong in your being. You can never find the answers truly. The answers are in you. But I will read you a passage of my book. So I've put bookmark, and this book is The Enchanting Way, Diary of a Rainforest Adventurer, Messages from the Stars. So this was like a journal when I was living in the center of like to myself. And then also it just turned into a book. And I'll read you a little section. So this is 6 ceremony. I've sat in 9. So I'm just going to be a school teacher.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So it's January the 25th. And we're gathered for a 6th ceremony, and on the new moon. Everything is very specific at these places, and it's the year of the rabbit. And so we're sitting in a circle. As the sun sets and the candles flicker, we commence our ceremony. Harmonious songs fill the air, each word teaching us mindfulness and offering profound insights into our relationship with self. I take my first cup of medicine, sinking into a state of pure being without overthinking. The mind begins to like completely shut off. It feels natural to consume this potent plant medicine that benefits the nervous system, enhances brain function, and helps release stagnant energy from our digestive system. And so before drinking my second cup, I find myself drawn to the crackling fire. I cherish this moment to contemplate, not burdened by thoughts, simply existing in the present. When we transcend our thoughts, we tap into the universal language of vibration. Sound becomes tangible and visible, allowing us to transcend the limitations of the mind. All illusions dissipate, revealing the enlightened essence of our inner Buddha. Wisdom effortlessly entwines within and around us. The mind, being electric, resonates with the prevailing happiness, song, and joy in our environment. And we access elevated states of consciousness where our brainwaves surge harmoniously. I distinctly heard a phrase, "We are both transmitters and receivers." Evidently, the DMT breaches the blood-brain barrier. And one of the other things I want to read part of the passages. Okay. A sense of melancholy swept over me as I pondered, how many more times will I return into my body, basically? Once again, my soul has embarked on this journey, yet the purpose remains a mystery. However, I possess some understanding thus far. Vibrational beings, akin to ourselves, but existing on a different plane, accompanying us. They effortlessly navigate through realities, yet they can never intervene. This is me interacting with another being. They revealed their proximity to us, coming within inches of my presence. However, humanity is closer than ever to connecting with them. We are beginning to grasp a profound compassion and kindness that transcends individuality and resonates within each of us. So what happened was that I was actually being told that we are very old souls, and one of those experiences revealed that humanity is shifting, but they are beings and they can't interact. I wasn't allowed to see it, but I was allowed to feel it, and yeah, that was that
Damn.
one.
So when you say they're not allowed to interact, do you mean come down here and be like, hey, here's a schematic to build this thing? Or
even let us know that they're here as a part
Right.
of the makeup. Yeah.
Our DNA is very old. We're based with hydrogen, and obviously hydrogen and water, but hydrogen has a certain memory, and our ancestors are very old. I mean, 36,000 years old. And we had interacted with them before. Our state of awareness has been shifted throughout our schooling, changing the way that we think, changing the way we see the world. Perception becomes a big part. So we become deluded with ideas. We hate each other. We love, we hate, we argue, and all these things are very kind of like a static kind of crazy energy. But what's happening is, like, within us, there is a technology and that's being switched on. And I was sitting there kind of contemplating, why am I here again? How many more times am I going to be in this body? Again, in this body, but in another body. How many more bodies do I have to sit in? And then it kind of said, we are very close. We are this close to you. We can see you, we can feel you, but we can't intervene. And you will have your own evolution. This within us. It's not outside of us. We change within ourselves. We have to realize what that is. You can sing, you can look for the answers outside of yourself, but you have to go in. And that's where that's where these sound journeys take you. The difference between having medicine and actual sound therapies, because that's what's happened to some of our clients.
So thank you for sharing that,
Yeah.
kind of the DMT ayahuasca side of things now. And you were talking to us a little bit before we went live about some of the experiences that are happening in these clean environments where, it seems like a very similar type of thing.
I was just wondering
happening.
about the whole experience.
Yeah.
What you're saying of, are you talking about reincarnation? Do you feel like you've been reincarnated, or just, and not in the same physical makeup that is Emel that sits before us, but maybe another format, but you're like, I've been here before. That's what you're saying? I'm not.
Yeah,
I could get down with that.
We have memory in our cells. For example, the soul is in a body. Example, I've got a cup of tea
Right.
or water. If I smash this,
Right.
the water goes somewhere else. Like the soul, it moves into another place.
Right.
But not necessarily in this cup. It's the same principle.
This body is a vessel, correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shown that I had been in many incarnations, and I've pretty much tried to do the same thing in most of my lives. And it was like remembering, like, in all my lives, I probably hadn't been in that situation, in a ceremony, revealing all these things, all these messages. And there's a lot more in the book that I've shared that I can share maybe towards the end. There's one more thing, but the essence of us never changes, but we grow with each experience. And it's up to us to remember what that experience is that we have to remember to help us transcend.
Mm-hmm.
So, but getting into the non-medicine type sound journeys where the sound is the medicine is the sound, which is my favorite. I prefer to have the sober aspect of things, because you truly get to go inside your being, and that's something that we had lost. So with the certain mantras, certain attunement frequencies, we play them to begin the journey, And then obviously we take them on. And some people have experience where they've seen spheres, an angelic presence, and it's moved down into their being, into their body where they've had issues, and it's just moved through them, and they felt so much better. And I was told that some people had traveled to other places. Someone had an interaction with their mum to understand what had happened to their mum. All their siblings got to understand, and she finally understood. She was like, I'm so thankful. Thank you. And wounds, a lot of people revert back to a pain or something that I haven't really acknowledged. And sound actually finds that. It's like a crystal. We are actually a giant crystal. And within our cellular memory, we have these impact points, and it can be a little bit gnarly, where you might have incurred a trauma. And with the sound journey, you kind of in your subconscious find it again and you work through it. And then it's released.
That's interesting.
Wow.
That makes sense. I mean,
No, it totally does.
It's like picking a lock.
I was going to
cracking
say,
a code.
Yeah. The sound kind of like finds those points and blasts through that negative, garbled up.
It's like water. It's going to find its way to that entry point and then shake it loose. And that's really interesting.
Harmonize with the cells in your body that are vibrating at that frequency. Yeah. And then it pushes out all the garbage frequencies out of your body.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah, you're speaking my language. I mean, it's definitely resonating with me. I mean,
and I feel like it's also there's something else that's happening. Like, I mean, I've heard angels sing. I've had my near-death experience, and I saw what saved me. And ever since then, like, it shows up sometimes, and I always invite them into the space. I invite, benevolent beings.
Yeah.
Because I've just felt them, and I've seen them in spaces, and I feel like they have helped. Each individual is able to completely shut off, and then they will come in and then do the thing, and help out. As crazy as it may sound.
No.
I don't think it does. I mean, I've watched a lot of very strange tales from people doing ayahuasca and watched documentary. I like experiences. I like listening to people's experience. Like if they're on a podcast talking about, I did 5 ayahuasca ceremonies and this is what happened. On the first one, it kind of went like I like hearing those kind of stories. Always have, especially about psychedelics or shamanic ceremonies that people go through. It's interesting to me because it's this whole hero's journey. And within that structure, that time, you're kind of going through this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Stoner and I, perfect example, when we were in Tribalize helping our buddy in Loveland, Colorado with the event Tribalize, we were shooting a bunch of stuff, and we went to this sound therapy workshop and basically set up a microphone. We weren't supposed to film anything, but we were recording audio, and we were getting ready to leave, and she invited us in. It's like, hey, where are you guys going? Sit down. Come on in. And it was the first time that she had probably 10 or 15 different instruments, but a lot of crystal bowls, and was just getting those things going. And we just laid there with selenite. And I remember getting into totally sober working, got into a pretty high consciousness.
Vibrational state.
And just felt great for 2 days after that. Yeah. That was our first kind of introduction to that.
Most people don't know what that means to have a sound bath. Like, what is it? What is that? A new?
How do we get more people aware of this?
Aroma from Suave? No. But yeah, it's just like it's such a bizarre thing for anybody that's not really heard of. I mean, again, we kind of delve into stuff like this, but yeah, if you can actually sit there and just listen to certain frequencies, even sometimes or different, especially the bowls remind me of that, like listening to just
beats.
certain hertz, and I love things like
or
that.
Or didgeridoos.
That's what I like to sit there, and when I used to actually just like more like meditate, like I said, that was my favorite. I would just put on my headphones and put on those tones and get it. It kind of helps you just get there faster than if you just actually sit. You'll get there if you're just quiet for long enough. I mean, you can do it, but it's such I don't know. They go so hand in hand to really elevate that experience.
Mm-hmm.
But even to like her experience, I think it's funny because I'm thinking of like Leary and Alpert the whole time of like those guys starting off with psychedelics and then Alpert getting to the point where he was like, when you get the message, you hang up the phone, you know, when you understand it, you know, and then he was like, I never wanted to do psychedelics again. He met his guru and, you know, started doing mantras and figured out, oh, I can do this in this fashion. So it's really funny. I see the parallels of what you're doing,
Yeah,
Emel,
totally.
and kind of how they did it, you know, on a much more truncated timeline too. But it's really interesting also because you have such quick experiences of like what one side of it was and what the other is, and you're clearly on the side where like I actually enjoy it with just using the music and using the tones and the sound frequencies. And I would say both of them are using kind of a natural magic to me, whether you're using a psychedelic or some kind of medicine or an herb or whatever it is, or if you're using just those vibrational frequencies. Because again, like you said at the start of the show, of like everything's frequency based. We think about the atoms that we're sitting on right now; they just move really slow, but they're still vibrating, quote unquote, right? So everything's still moving, even though it's solid. Or it's really strange.
Like if you look at some of the stone circles, with it, like the earth has actually created like patterns in the earth. There's different locations, like Stonehenge being one of them, or Avebury. And if you look at like the flower of life depicted over on top of them, you'll see like, okay, so they understood how maybe alpha or beta worked because the stones in itself were certain diameter of height. So if you was to get a ruler and you hit it at the end of the table and you move it up and down, it creates different resonance because within the stones there's a crystalline structure. So one of the things that they understood was that you could actually enhance your own body through frequency by using stones, for example, or obviously sound baths. It's like we're bringing back something that we've done for a long time, and it's taken a long time to actually really get to grips with that. But I think we're still on the edge of the technologies that the ancient had done, and we're still discovering what that is, you know. And one of the things that I would say is like, what if we learn how to control our resonance to enhance our hue further, you know, to align with the universe, you know, the building blocks, for example, of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen and water, you know, followed by mineral elements. So everything is like on the periodic table, and it's an element, and an atom functions for each building block. And so everything is moving and oscillating constantly, you know, dancing in an ever spinning wheel as our earth does around our sun. Everything is cosmic and it's happening inside you, continuously moving, and nothing is stagnant. So you could sit there meditating, but there's a lot going on, and you can actually go into a certain state within the elements that's within you and fine tune them, you know?
Right.
That kind of
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the scale of the chakras. You know, they all have a certain color, they all have a certain symbol, they all have a certain tone. So you know, when you go through the E, Om, you know, all that those are just like the frequencies of your chakra, and everything is by color. You know, your sacral chakra lower is like red, and then it goes up through yellow, and then your top is purple. So, you know, I've had the experience of sound having a specific color even. And obviously you were talking about cymatics, and they all have a symbol. And so when you tie all those together, it's like, you know, you're literally hitting so many of your senses that you don't even realize is happening, and they're all coming together in one experience.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. You're on it. For example, you've got like which is measured at 7.83 hertz, which is the earth. Gum is 13.7 hertz. Hlim, 19.6 hertz. Hrim, 25.5 hertz. Klim, 31.4 hertz. Grom, 37.3 hertz. And Shrim, 43.2 hertz. So all these sounds are like, these will help kind of align within those colors that we have within ourselves. So like, for example, like there's a G, which is the crown. You know, we're built on harmonics. We just see ourselves as solid, but we're actually giant crystals. And one of the things that I got actually from one of the ceremonies, that we are born finely tuned. It's only until we grow up there is
Yeah.
stagnation,
Oh,
this
yeah.
harmonious stuff.
Oh, 100%.
But I'm working on a track. I'm working on a track at the moment where I have cultivated a surround sound that actually works with different body parts, and I'll share that later on,
Very
maybe
cool.
in the
Sweet.
future.
Fantastic.
That's really cool.
I mean, what about a couple things with your books? The one that you were just talking about. Is there anything else that you want to share from your new books that part of the process of writing it, and what led you to doing that? Because it sounds like you've just been on a tear the last 9 months.
I mean, so with this book, the concept and the idea came for me to find herbs that help brain activity, to help focus and everything. Making teas, making tinctures, and I was eating a lot of the herbs that I was finding through the seasons. But what started happening was I started almost hearing a voice. Know thyself, human. Sitting in my garden on my own. What? Know thyself. Like, yeah, if you're going to write this book, you got to know who you are. Otherwise, there's no point. So, okay, how does the heart work? Oh, what? That's got nothing to do with herbs. I know it does. Everything to do with herbs. Because what are herbs? What are plants? They're part of the cosmos, right? What about your heart? How does your heart work? So I started dissecting things like how the heart works. What is the heart? And why is that significant to why these herbs work? Not only do some herbs help the heart, for example, but for example, I was going into like the cellular structure of the plant lemon balm. Lemon balm helps put gamma into the body, or gamma biotic acid is a crystalline structure. And then I started seeing a computer. Oh, what happens when you insert a chip into a system? There's a program running. What's that program? Where does the information come from? Oh, the plants have information. Oh, okay. And this is how it started unfolding.
That's
And it was
interesting.
knowing by it. Yes. And I mean, you can have lemon balm because not just because it's a plant and it's green and it so happens to have this really powerful acid. It actually has a fundamental, deeper cosmic purpose, and
Right.
that led me into okay. Well, what other herbalists out there? Well, why should I write this book? What makes it any different? And then what started coming up when I read the paragraph from Carl Pepper: gather all leaves in the hour of that planet that governs them. Okay, wow. So I got to integrate planets and plants. Oh, right, because our bodies are cosmic. So I started then aligning the planets and the plants through like a chart. So I was working out a chart, and then I'm thinking, well, how am I going to create this chart? And then how would I even know what plants would work? Does it even make sense? I'm not astrologer. And then another paragraph that he had said was, let your medicine be something of the nature of the sign ascending. All right. So that's when I started putting the planets into the timeline of when certain herbs were growing, and then created a wheel of herbs. And then I started expanding even more. I looked into what hemoglobin looks like under a microscope. Have you guys seen what our hemoglobin looks
No.
like?
I probably did
Holy
at one
Bub
point,
probably
but I
has.
probably don't remember. But
Yeah.
I know what it does, but it's been a minute.
Man, I found this book in the library. I was being told to go here, there, and everywhere, like not to find
That's
sources.
awesome.
And I did. I was like literally like a mad scientist putting this puzzle piece together because, I mean, when you look it up or, if you find, I'm not going to give it away, is each individual has to find and learn themselves because that's what enhances your awareness. But all I can say is it's magical and it's wow, and it truly puts this perspective into what we are made of and why. And then the last thing I came across was Socrates. God takes away the minds of poets and uses them as his ministers. And he also uses diviners and holy prophets in order that we who hear them may know them to speaking not of themselves, who utter these priceless words in a state of unconsciousness, but that God himself is the speaker and that through them he is conversing with us. I was like, holy crap,
Whoa.
that's what's happening to me.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
that's what was happening to him. It made me feel a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And so the book became what it is today. There's graphs, there's measurements, there is going into the macro to the micro in that book, which is very linked to music, which is very linked to sound.
I mean, before when you were talking about just kind of how plants work, and I can't remember what psychedelic documentary or book or whatever it was that I read that talked about plants basically being the best pharmacists. And the reason why they're the best pharmacists is because the chemicals they're creating are just sending signals. They create a chemical to send a signal to the other part of the plant. That's all it is. That is the medicine. So when you said plugging in a software, plugging
data.
in, that totally resonated with me
Makes
because
sense.
that's how we get drugs, aspirin, whatever, any modern medication that comes from plants.
Think of the
It's
microbiome in
just
your gut and
pulling
what
that
that
out.
does. I mean, that's basically the same thing. It's a whole neural network in your gut that decides a lot of
bacteria.
things about you and your body
Yeah.
and your health and
Makes you want to eat
the floor of your gut. Yeah,
whatever
it just
it
does all
wants.
kinds of things. Yeah, who knows? It's one of those, like what you said earlier too, of the planets are spinning around, we're going around the sun, all this. If you really look at it, everything's doing this like toroidal spinning through the galaxy as we're flying along in space. And even as you look down further and further at us, it's happening to us. Like we're just spinning and burning really slowly, but our hearts are always pumping, our lungs are, we're doing the same thing. Our molecules are always just winding along. So it's just this, I don't know. It feels like whatever's happening in the universe at large is like playing out on, like she said, on the macro micro.
Totally is. As above, so below.
Yeah. Maybe that's, probably a better way to put it.
Well said, Bob, and exactly as above, so below, Mike. One of the things that I was being told to do, it's inflammatory. Why is it inflammatory? Because of a particular protein. Okay, what does that protein look like? Oh, wow. Hold on a minute. Oh, that looks like something I've seen before. A human cell. Hold on a minute. Carbon chains that create chains within themselves, and carbon is the only chain that can create chains within themselves. Is carbon a miracle creation? Is that the God particle? And then boom, another explosion would happen, and I'm going into like this frantic search of pulling in this, pulling in that. Oh, this makes so much sense.
Right.
And then, like the plant's protein shape is essential and necessary for its function, right? To work perfectly for us. So the carbon molecule form is made of orbitals. If you look at carbon, it's made of orbitals, which move in a circle, a bit like how our planets move around the sun, right? It's a form of energy and intelligence. So carbon electrons circulate the nucleus constantly. There's a circular and elliptical or oval motion. So you are probably thinking inside us is a constant movement of atoms, like a mini Milky Way. The answer is yes. So what it means is our bodies are full of this energy constantly vibrating, moving, and dancing as the earth moves around the sun. So divine measurement, is a movement. And I'm not going to say any more than that.
It's like literally a physical movement. I mean, the whirling dervishes, people ecstatic dance, they drum, think Native American powwows where, they're dancing and you got the drums and you're partying. I've been there. You can get
Well,
some
what-
pretty high level states of consciousness.
What were we discussing the other day? Was it we were talking about a different episode of a lady talking about Jimi Hendrix and his music, and you were discussing about just his like
No,
there
his
was some
music
other
is a religious experience.
right, and just like
More than just
what's
music.
actually going on there is not just music. It's it's kind of like your singing bowl earlier. There's those vibrational wavelengths are so close that it's not just music. There's something else that's going on with that as well at the same time. And when you get people that but they do, they're just like, they're tuned in and they're like sending directly out whatever's coming into them from the universe. It sounds and feels different. Mm-hmm. You can't get a bunch of Swedish pop writers to write those songs. I don't care how many ABBAs and Ace of Base are out there. Like
Unless it's
they're
Mike
not,
Snow.
Mike Snow's pretty good, but I'm saying I think there has to be an agreement between that whoever's doing that and that song that comes out, kind of even similar to the who's the old blues musician they always said that sold his soul to the devil to play
Robert
the-
Johnson.
There you go.
Yeah.
Those kind of things where people are like, there's just something like it's just that guy had to sell his soul to the devil.
Well, he
to
came
sound that good.
back
It's like no, like
a year later.
he's just on tune with it, or they're so on point with it where you're like,
yeah.
that is what it is. That's what it should be. Like it just does something. I don't know how to express it.
It's every thought and every word is something that we're putting out. Like we're transmitters and receivers. So everything we're putting into our body is information, and it's up to us to feed ourselves with the right form of information, whether that's through music, whether that's through words. And the most three fundamental vibrations that humanity needs to master is kindness, compassion, and happiness. We could move mountains if we wished. We could wish for peace. We can say love, but love thy neighbor, and there is no love for the neighbor. There is war because there is no compassion for the neighbor. And these vibrations are very powerful too. And they're tools. So music is a tool, and it's up to us to actually create that. And so this kind of like, I quit music. I actually stopped writing for 3 years because I worked in the book. The book was my focus because I was coming to an understanding of the purpose of why all these things that had happened to me. Why was I getting visited? Why was I seeing myself as a pure crystalline being? Why did I hear Star Child? Who are the star people? Oh, it's so old. Oh, are we coming into remembrance finally? And then very recently coming into the same kind of thought patterns, I could hear a voice. A prophecy. What prophecy? There's a prophecy. Prophecy's coming. And so I asked, I was like, Spirit, Creator, if there is a purpose for music and you wish for anything to come out to the world, I put my hand up to receive your message and let me write the song for it. And so I did. And then it started happening. And it's almost like the words were the vibration. The message was a part of the book. Obviously, the chapter 4 of my book was very important. And I started writing again, for the right reasons, crystallizing.
Well, you haven't stopped doing music. You just stopped recording music. I mean, you're still doing music and playing flute and playing your
But it's different.
Guitar,
but it's different
ukulele.
when it's different. It's different
I
when
totally
you're actually
understand.
like you're trying to write a song or
You're not
whatever you're doing. It's
gonna
different.
release the new
you never
EP.
stop doing music, but
Yeah.
you might stop working on it in a sort of way. But you always play it and do it and never stop.
Thank you.
Yeah, you never stop.
No.
Like people ask me all the time, "You play?" And I'm like, "No." And then I'm like, they're like, "You don't play your guitar?" I'm like, "I play my guitar all the time." They're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, I don't play out. I don't play shows. I don't really play full songs. Like, I still keep myself very in check, though. I have to do it.
You've been
Like,
playing a
it
lot
just
more lately.
evolves.
It's been great.
Yeah.
Around the office, too.
Yeah.
I want to hear more of that guitar.
We'll get there. We're gonna get it set up at some point. We'll
Tune
figure
in
it out.
Wednesday, Strange Happenings. Bub's going to play a little tunage at the end.
We'll put in the guitar again.
Sorry, I put you on the spot.
That's
it's
right.
happening.
We can figure it out. I'm sure I'll
Hey,
find songs tonight.
By the way, can we just take a quick chat break?
Sure.
Chat. What
What
is
happened?
happening? We got Cess in the City chasing mound builders. I saw Necro in there earlier. Julie, what's happening? We got Victor. Victor is one of Emel's friends. Thank you for hanging out with us.
I didn't even know we had a chat for a long time.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't up on the
Hi,
monitor,
Victor.
so I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Much love
Hi,
to
everyone
all of you.
online.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Oh, all one same. What's happening? All one same. I knew a lot of you guys in here would appreciate this one, and some of you guys may not have ever seen episode 15, our first episode with the Mel.
Absolutely.
It was over a year ago, or actually probably right out a year.
It's weird how they've almost all timed up, like very close to like a year out. Like, very, very interesting.
Yeah.
But it also just feels like, how do I want to say it? It is one of those you can literally time travel. Like if you ask me, like, what do you think it'll be like in 5 years from now? I could probably surmise that of what's, and that's what it feels like. Is it's almost just been like, boop, there's a year, and Emel's this much further along, and like I said earlier, it's really interesting because I used to use an analogy of like friends and acquaintances and family of like planets orbiting. I was like, I used to orbit just by myself all the time, and now I orbit along, and my wife and I orbit in the same pattern. And then you have friends that come around every 5 years, and you see them, and then they shoot around and do this big ellipse. But there's just like all the movement of how everybody, like we were talking about it with the planets, to us and our own bodies, to relationships, and I think it's just one of those of like realizing that there is all this movement all the time. Like you're saying, the vibration, even in the solid thing, but you can see it playing out on so many different levels. Mm-hmm. It's really kind of freaking me out now the more I think about it.
Julie says she is amazing, such a powerful woman. Love it. So some awesome comments in here. Glad you guys are enjoying this one.
Yeah, thank you everyone for your comments, and glad you're enjoying. And I want to share something with you guys. Another little thing that came to mind. Have you guys read the book Celestial Prophecy?
The Celestine Prophecy?
Yeah.
Yes. Like years ago, and then I read it again like 4 or 5 years ago.
Do you know there's a movie on YouTube that if you just type it, you can actually watch it? And it came up for me, and I watched it, and I was like,
I've heard about the movie.
I don't know if
I've never seen it.
I'll have to watch it.
I have heard about it.
It's just free on YouTube?
Thing is, they tried to get that movie made for like 20 years.
And it would go, what, like blocked?
They were just trying to get it funded, and I think finally they put enough money together to get it made.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I need to watch that tonight.
I know I've read the book.
I was surprised. I was surprised it even came out, because after watching it, I felt an alignment. And I actually wrote a song, and I put the Celestial Prophecy before I even was really kind of like, oh yeah, there's actually a movie out there. And I was like, hold on a minute. Wow. I think it'd be great if some people could watch that, because there is something in that movie that shifts our perception and how we see energy and how we interact with each other. And I think it's a good reminder. For example, like if you look at Ayurvedic medicine, in my book, I've broken it down a bit. So you've got water principle, you've got air principle, you've got fire principle. All those things have a really big impact on the body. And if you look at the actual principle of it, it moves in a torus field. It actually has a measurement, and resonance is found everywhere, and like a true phenomenon in nature as it links to the quantum fields. So it'd be interesting for people to look that up as well. Just wanted to put that out there.
Which kind of makes me bring up, and I thought about it earlier, but you were on a roll before, but we are currently, and I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag just yet, but Bub's been connecting with archaeoacoustic, some people that are studying archaeoacoustics and rediscovering the nature of what the heck was going on with sound and music at ancient sites. And they're studying resonant frequencies in certain spots in ancient temples. I would love to get Emel and them connected.
'em up. Yeah,
once we
sure.
have that episode and kind of get to know them.
Totally.
Because, they're out there in the field, but wouldn't it be amazing to get some musicians out there and put some of those theories to test?
Could do some troubleshooting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be very cool.
That would be remarkable. I think there would be some movement in that for sure. For you to even suggest that is very powerful.
Yeah,
Thank
I mean,
you.
it just hit me because this very scientific research is what these guys are doing. I'm trying to get up to speed
Right.
a little bit before this episode, but we've been going back and forth a little bit, and it's just, I mean, they're a legit organization doing real research at ancient sites and studying these frequencies and cymatics and measuring the frequencies and showing you like, hey, these are the sounds that this is what
Yeah.
happens at Stonehenge when you harmonize with the material of the stone.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things that go into it, like you were saying. I know you can drum at the bluestones in the at Stonehenge, and the way that they all bounce off in that circle and come back to you, it's supposed to be this really, really strange experience. But you kind of got to be in the right spot.
Sure.
So you got to find those spots.
Well,
you
yeah.
know, at Chichen Itza, you can clap and it goes, ew, 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 and it's a bird call coming back to you.
Right.
And you clap, and it makes this really strange bird call, basically, from a jungle bird. And you have busloads of people that sit there and all clap in harmony, and those sounds just come back. But it's like, how do you figure that out? Are all these ancient sites attuned to certain frequencies?
They are all attuned. They are for us to find and remember. Remember our harmony. What is in our harmony, if we truly look, and try not to be so like desperate in the search. It has to just be a timing thing. It has to come because you want to. It's coming from the right place rather than I have to prove it because I'm going to get loads of money if I do it, and then I show around and everyone's going to see it. It's like the intention is going to be the block. It has to come from, are we ready? What are we doing is the question. As humanity, I look at ants living in Costa Rica and I'm in awe of the ants. And I'm like, if we could come together and truly work together to find the answers without hierarchy, oh, you need a special pass. Actually, okay, I've got this person that can really help. I've got that person. Let's all come together and let's work it out because it feels right to,
Right.
These ancient sites are so powerful, especially I think in the pyramids, Chichen Itza, the in Avebury. There's something in Avebury. I remember seeing a light in the sky when I went there for the summer solstice. It flashed. I had like 3 flashes, like a torch was being flicked on and off. I was like, okay. And then some crazy things happened throughout the whole day. Birds were flying on the bus. I was seeing doves, hawk flying past. It's like, fast forward. Like when you're in a resonance, things can speed up for the good. If we could all be in resonance together as well, that would shift our reality as we know it.
Right. It seems like we're heading.
Doesn't ever seem that's what's happening.
Hopefully we're heading in the right direction, but it feels like it's getting better a little bit. I mean, we went to a comedy show, went to Ryan Singer's comedy performance on Saturday. Fantastic, by the way. If anybody ever wants to go see Ryan Singer live, you totally should do it. We were dying laughing. Ryan crushed it. Saw some great local comedians, but just at the comedy club, there's some guys that went pretty deep on some jokes. And it was like, okay, how is this going to be received with all the different and everybody was cool. Everybody was,
But here's the thing. It's not always going to be everybody's cool, and that's fine, too. Like, it doesn't have to always be everybody's cool. You know what I mean?
But
like,
for the most part, people get along.
It will be. That's
what you see on the news and the wars. And generally, people are cool as hell.
The world.
We hung out with
I'm
people.
with what you're saying about the ants.
Yes.
Because I know exactly what you're talking about. The leaf cutter and the fire ants, those things mean business, and they got a goal and an agenda, and they're working together. And they're piping leaves back and forth, and they got a line, and you don't mess with them because you're going to get bit. But we will fight and scrim. We can't get 10 people to agree upon, hey, let's do this. It's like, it's going to start at infighting at group 5, and they're going to fight with the other group 5, and everything turns into Lord of the Flies by the end of it. And it's like, it is, but that's what I'm saying. That's what she's saying. Like, you look at the simplicity of like working together, and you look at the chaos of not being able to get cohesion.
Our government,
not just our government, just
massive
world, and if
bureaucracies.
you want to go macro, micro, however.
Yeah.
It's really tough to get us as a species of humans to agree upon just trying to elevate the world vibrational frequency, to elevate the happiness, to elevate the prosperity, that's the hard part. That's the craziest part.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the struggle.
Humanity is a Pandora's box waiting to explode.
Fair enough. Why do you say that? What makes you feel that way?
Because we've been pushed and suppressed to the point where we feel we are limited, but actually we are limitless, and we've been governed to believe we have to be governed, and we've got to do something about the governments. But no, we can just keep doing it.
Yeah, we can just get rid of the government
and requiesce, say no. They can't do anything.
Yeah.
we
There's only a few of them.
Almost painted ourselves into a corner to where we don't realize we can get out of it. It's the whole, there was that scientific
That's the concept
experiment
of the movie Ants.
Well,
going back to Ants.
That experiment where they
Pixar
put the
movie
jar
Ants,
of the fleas. They put fleas in the jar, and if they put a lid on it, those fleas only jump until they hit the lid, and then when they take the lid off, they'll never jump high enough to jump out of the container because they've been kind of trained to believe that that's the ceiling. They don't know that because they could.
There's a lid on
They
us,
get
man.
trained. Yeah, that's what she's saying too. Where like they're tamping down on the ability to say, nope, you need, somebody to tell you what to eat and where to drive, and blow the lid off.
There is no lid.
Right.
It's open. Are you going to jump out? Are you ready?
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah. I can handle that.
I mean, that's you're jumping out when you're exploring things like sound vibrational frequencies.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely. In my personal opinion, sound is is a greater frontier than even AI. I've been saying sound is the most untapped technology out there, even greater than AI, greater than the internet, greater than sound. Is just, there's parts of it that we don't know. I think the Egyptians figured it out. I think the Atlanteans and these cultures that we call myths, I think they had sound figured out.
You mean as like a technological tool to use,
as being able to resonate and harmonize and move giant blocks of stone potentially with sound.
Sure.
We're starting to break into that technology right now. There's
well, Tesla, you can go back to him with his little earthquake machines. He would figure out resonant frequencies of buildings and nearly take them down by turning on a small device. So there's something to it. You can watch what is the old trope is the champagne glass with the opera singer, and she sings really at that perfect pitch and the glass shatters. So there are things that once you hit that certain wavelength frequency too, now it's actually catastrophic to it. So it's like, that's an even stronger point for you of like you can enhance with the sound, or you can get to like, you are at this breaking point with this sound.
How about the Ark of the Covenant? The Ark of the Covenant was a sound weapon more than likely.
I didn't know this.
They walked around the city of Jericho 3 times, and by the 3rd time the trumpets blew and the walls of Jericho crumbled.
Well,
so the Ark is, in that story, to me, some sort of technology, some kind of sound technology that just completely obliterated the walls of Jericho when it was opened and the powers were unleashed. Who really knows what it was? But to me, that sounds like a sound weapon. Too much?
I don't know. I can't speak to the Ark that well.
I mean, there was a guy that I was looking at ancient stones, the ancient Scottish stones. That if you look, in
the cairns.
I've got illustrations of those stones, and then I've got an atom next to it. That's what I'm going to say. And if you just look at an energy capacitor coil.
Oh yeah.
And there was a guy who had like brought back. It was this seminar that I watched about 5 years ago. It was a round circle, had a hole in the center, and he had a cone. And then you look at the ancients with the cone hat.
Oh yeah, and
The
holding the
cone,
cones. Mm-hmm.
if you look at an insect's wing, you see tiny little cones. All they do is vibrate and it hovers. So there's ways that you can have an impact on the human body through, again, resonance that's unseen.
Yep.
And every time we do our sound sessions, I have an invocation to certain toning and a certain upliftment and prayers that come in as well. And I put that in my music too, and it's important to keep that authenticity. Like, remember, how did the ancients do it? Maybe I can give that a go.
Emel, have you ever heard of the coral castles in Florida? Here in the States.
No.
Okay, so a very interesting story. If anybody's not heard of the coral castles, this older gentleman over a series of years had built these massive coral, giant megalithic structures in his backyard. No one could ever figure out how, and you can go there, it's a tourist attraction. You can literally go there and walk around this place, and his neighbors swear that they would drop off these giant boulders, and in the morning, they would be completely erected into artwork. Nobody had any clue how he did this, but on his deathbed, he did say, I unlocked the secrets of how they built the pyramids. And so he never showed anybody, but they went through his workshop, and one thing that they did find were these cones in his workshop.
Cones?
Stone cones.
What?
Were a part of that. And people point that to the Sumerian tablets, the reliefs in ancient Egypt where they're holding the cones with the man purses that they have.
The knowledge purse.
Those are connected to the cone. Maybe there's a device in there.
Yeah, I know that he had like a 1 ton or 2 ton door that was like he perfectly set it that you could just push it. You just push it with a finger and open this door, and it would it was like a revolving door he had built.
It creates energy. Energy it could be sound. It creates an oscillating field, currents of electricity made of atomic particles, forms of nuclear energy in some ways. And it creates like an electron spin, which can shift matter and it can affect matter.
Sure.
What is matter? Everything is energy, right? Wow.
It's all a frequency. How you can, if everything else is a frequency, and you add or harmonize that frequency with a frequency that you create. Maybe it's a machine. Maybe it's Emel's high spirit flute. Maybe it's the crystal bowl. Whatever this resonates with, if you can resonate that matter with the same frequency as the sound, then you can make things move. Yeah. And you can direct that energy somewhere else.
It's like a hovercraft.
Yeah.
Because it's that buoyancy in between.
What if I was to tell you I knew someone who's actually building a resonator, and that could do with a little help? And this resonator would really help shift our electromagnetic field and also enhance the Earth's electromagnetic field. Because at the moment, Earth has a slightly, it's off kilter. I'm going to be working towards kind of like how we can raise awareness in that and who wants to help fund-wise.
Very cool.
Absolutely. Do we by chance know the same person that's doing this?
Maybe.
Okay. Because I feel like I know somebody that's trying to build a resonator too. Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think sound is the one of the final frontiers of unlocking our true potential. We're going to go in the direction of AI, and instead of looking inward, we're going to be looking outwards to, our robot overlords to, float around in our hover chairs and get, Walmart delivered to our houses every day. And
it's getting strange.
We have to realize that for us to truly communicate with the cosmos and everything around us is through our inner world, is within. It's not outside. AI is a distraction. There's an intelligence. No, there is no greater intelligence than us, than all sentient beings. And AI is going to fail and it's going to crumble. And humanity will realize very quickly that they have the highest intelligence from a place of, wow, we are pretty awesome. That's what I believe.
Because we can, AI is tapping into Google as a way to gather all of its information. Like Jeff
Well-
says, it's kind of a plagiarizing machine. It just pulls information from the entire internet. But, you know, you reach a certain level, and from what I understand and what a lot of people wish the direction we would go is you're tapping into internally in yourself the Akashic records, which is beyond Google. That's where you're tapping into the ancient, far back, distant times. And you can
Yes.
pull that information
Yeah.
instead of using Google and AI. You can attune
Yeah.
yourself to reach into that, you know, Akashic records, which is beyond anything that we have
It is
in
kind-
terms of knowledge and information.
Yeah, it is really kind of mind blowing, and I'm guilty of it too. Just like the technology and like the allure of it, and like the intoxication of like just being on your phone or social media or this, like just it's crazy, it's crazy, and it is. It robs you of that natural magic, of that natural power, of that natural
Take a walk in the
internal
woods.
ability. Right? It does, and it almost like skews you from even understanding that. Like it's kind of like when you get older and you forget what it was like to be a kid, to appreciate just to go, you know, ride your bike or something. If you know, the quote unquote typical adult that just like, oh, I don't ride a bike anymore. I'm 50, you know? No, you can go do that, man. You can go throw a Frisbee if you want, you know, you can do whatever you want.
Or climb a tree.
Right. You lost the connection between understanding. And that's what I'm saying. Like in another 10, 20 years, will we even be having these kind of conversations? Will people even be talking about something at this level? Will we be so engrossed with it? Will it be so blended with us that we lose such a
What if these are like
humanitarian part of our
the last
aspect?
conversations that a generation has?
We have the power to change that. We have the power. We have the power to change that. And if that's not the reality we wish it won't be, you know, it's up to us to come together. And, you know, these ideas are just ideas. But yeah, some of them are putting them into practice.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to stick, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm with you. And you're walking down that path. I mean, you're diving into sounds and herbs and getting all this knowledge
Right.
of, you know, trying to right now get yourself into a higher frequency. So when it gets to that point, you know, I've been trying to do that for a while. Sometimes I fall back and slide back and, you know, I try to get myself back on track, but it's hard, man. It's hard. We're surrounded by a whole lot of
distractions.
You know, living in the city and just Wi-Fi signals and cars and pollution and
Go for a hike.
Yeah, I
Connect
know.
to nature.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And just take time out. And nature is the one who will be able to like really get into like those negative ions, soak them up, really be of that one with self, and find ways to find joy. And you'll be all right. You know, we'll be okay. We just have to remember that we're not stuck. And what helps us elevate is not just the vibration, it's through our act, the act of, I'm going to be kind to someone because they might need some encouragement. That does a lot. That actually shifts you even more so into being that, you know, raising that frequency in that vibration, you know.
Love it.
Yeah.
So good.
I do the 3 things. Well, if I come home and I'm in a mood, Kim will make me do it. The 3 things I'm thankful for the day. So it's usually a coffee because the coffee's always stellar. I get to bring my dog to work, so that's pretty dope. So I get to have my dog at work, so that makes me happy. You know, just little things, but that's another thing too of like just finding out how to make those moments for yourself. Like you're saying, take a walk, take a hike, take this.
Make a good meal.
And for some, like, okay, let's put it this way. Maybe we all know what it's like to take a hike and enjoy that hike. But again, for the average person that might be so engrossed into it to where they get to a point where they literally lose connection of like, you know, you get almost isolated into it to where like that social media becomes, that's like your corner. Like you don't know how to even get out of it almost. Like that's what I get worried about is like people not just understanding, like just put that down for a minute. Just that doesn't actually matter. Like that's a whole Plato's cave of shenanigans, and right over there's a lovely park. Or yeah, you know, you could go take a walk around the block, or you know, go downtown or something like that, or whatever it is. Be out in the woods, like distract yourself in a good way sometimes, right?
Be like a child.
There you go.
Remember what it's like to be a child. If you feel stifled, if you feel frustrated, if you feel unhappy, think back on the times when you were a kid and you had that time just to daydream, bub.
Oh
Or
yeah.
I'm
Daydreamed a
just
lot.
going to stand, it's cold and it's snowing. You've got people in Estonia that are like, oh, yeah, going into ice water. And they jump in the ice
Yeah.
water. I've got some amazing friends I see, their videos, and they're just like keeping themselves busy. Like nothing is miserable, even if the ice and the cold is just like taking over the lakes. They'd even cut the ice and get into the water
Yep.
and like find fun in the things, like find fun.
That's good for you too. Ice plunges. Woo.
Yeah. But it's true. It's true. It's manipulating things to your own end too sometimes. Of like, again, you're saying you're taking this ice plunge. It's like, doesn't look like fun. How did you gear your mind to make that a win? That's another kind of like really interesting mechanism that we all can do, but how do we rewire those, dopamine hits that we get, and what actually gives us that enjoyment and makes us want to go back to it? I think that's another one that's really, it's a fine line of not like rewiring your brain too much, again, with all the tech that's coming along. I've never been more worried about it, to be honest. Like in my perspective, I find it unsettling, but maybe it's just me. Maybe
it's
I'm just
unsettling.
getting too old. Who knows?
I mean, all the message I've received of trying to pay attention of just like where I should be, what I should be doing, and it's always technology is to be used as a tool. Like, do not get stuck in that trap. For me,
Yeah. No,
I have to do my hikes and go see a waterfall, and I can't function. But obviously we do a podcast that's on 10 different platforms.
Right.
We have Instagram,
Right,
we do TikTok,
But
and
at the
we
same
have
time, like if you said, hey, let's go on a cabin trip, well, we're not going to have
No
any
phones,
technology,
yeah.
and we're just going to have campfires and make burgers and hang out, like, and
Well,
just
around
play
Christmas,
guitar and have fires. Like, yes.
I took 2
all
weeks
weekend.
off social
Right.
media completely around the holidays
Right.
this year. Just 2 weeks, didn't do anything.
Wouldn't touch
Didn't
it.
post anything, didn't look at any messages.
Took a good hiatus.
Didn't care.
Yeah. We almost had a wellness check put out on us.
Yeah, it's like, hey,
Like,
is
is
Strange
Strange
Road
Road
still
still
alive? You guys
One of the things I would envision growing, like all the crazy stuff that happened in my life in 2015, my life just completely turned upside down. And I was like, are they trying to crack me open? Like, are
Yeah.
they, like, why is this happening to me? And I just remember, internally having this dialogue of like facing myself in the dark night of the soul, being in a place of just suffering.
Yep.
And all I knew was suffering. And then a voice said, pain is a teacher, my friend. Oh, who's that voice? What do you mean pain's a teacher? I have a spinal injury and I can't really move my left arm. I actually can't move my left arm. I'm in constant pain. What do I do? And then I just started, rewiring my mind to, okay, how can I move through this? What can I learn from this? Anything that happens in your life that is uncomfortable is trying to show you something. The more you ignore it, the more uncomfortable it's going to get until you actually crack. But you don't want to crack. You want to be like, okay, I'll get through this and I will change my pattern. I'll walk a different way home today. I will message a friend that I haven't spoken to in a long time.
Yep.
I'll just do an act of kindness to a random stranger and say, oh, you look really nice. Little things that you start doing that can shift your reality a little bit more. No one is really stuck. Yes, you may be feeling like you're stuck working for the man. And that's what I believed. I thought, oh my God, my mum would say, well, you've got to get a job. And I remember applying for a job in a cafe. I was like, this is the most shittest cafe in North London. Why am I going to do this to myself? But I gave that a chance and it never happened. And then another position came and I was in another country. So you can surprise yourself sometimes, but you have to break through fear. You have to get rid of the poor me. Oh, my life is so terrible. No, if you think that, it will be. You just think, okay, what am I going to do differently today? What can I do for myself that feels good?
Yeah.
And that's at least the first stages of change.
Yeah. I think I just have such an intense critic in my head that it's very tough. Like, we talked about it earlier of, the mantras and what we tell ourselves, we manifesting. You know, I get told a lot of times, like, don't say that. Don't say that about yourself. Don't think that way. You know, be positive, because it's more of like, it's just being very hard on yourself. I've always felt like I don't ever think I'm going to be very happy with myself. Like, I'll never be like, yep, I succeeded. Yep, I did that. It's always just like, what haven't I done? What have I not accomplished? Or I haven't done this, or I don't feel like I'm getting that done, or I have a tough time feeling like I'm doing anything. Does that make sense?
You're doing it. You're doing great things, Bob. You're awesome. You know, both you and Mike, and I hope that you
I don't feel that way, but I appreciate it.
remember, like, yeah, like what we spoke about before. It's because you were able to handle it, and you chose that, so you could realize actually you're never alone. You can create. There is self-criticism because this is just a template you have been running, a program you've been running, just like, okay, I'll stop that and I'll start another one.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, not a lot of people do that, Bub.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have the courage to completely start a new thing. I mean, you're still in the, I
don't know if it's courage or
baby steps
lack of intelligence, you know,
of just like
jumping off the cliff.
Yeah. And I think in some way, you know, obviously music is your gift, but it's finding a way that's not like Emel, you know, not a traditional way. Like, I'm going to write an EP and release it on Spotify.
No, I don't think that'll ever be how music works for me necessarily.
But that is your gift ultimately, is music. I mean, that's what you put the most amount of work in your entire life is playing guitar and singing and writing songs. More than any creative endeavorment, including this podcast.
Right.
We put in quite a few hours into this podcast.
Which is wild, isn't it? Yeah. It's so funny because we talked about
nothing compared to you playing guitar, though.
Yeah. We talked about it the other day, right? So you show up at a party, I'll bring a guitar, and it's happened so many times, like break out this guitar. And it happened because we just went on a trip with some people who it happened with them, where, you know, you break out the guitar and they're like, great, this guy's going to play Mary Had a Little Lamb, or it's going to suck, or whatever it is. And then you start playing and people just literally go quiet and they're like,
oh, what is this?
And they're like, dude, you should be playing somewhere. You should be in a band, or you should be getting paid. And like, thank you. It's very nice. Like, I get, but there's so many assumptions because it's just, you say you play music or like how long you've did. I can play guitar and sing just like, you know very well. You do it without thinking about it because it's just feels just natural. It's like some people might write poetry or paint a picture. I can't paint shit. I can't draw. I can play guitar. I can sing. You know, there are a lot of things I can't do. The things that I can do, you know, I don't think about them because they feel natural to me at this stage. They don't feel difficult because I've put in all the hours. But it took me a lifetime, you know. It's hard to always be aware of it.
There's no such thing as can't, but do. Right. The more you do,
fair enough.
That's it.
Fair enough. I could be better at those things that is, painting and what have you. It's not an innate thing that I was like, okay, I want to try to work at. And even music, you know, I had to chop that wood for a long time before I could really play a guitar, and then, you know, sing and play at the same time. And there were a lot of integrations that had to happen over the years to figure it out, you know.
It's just, you know what you're saying, Bob, and Mike, is in a sense you just shift your vibration to what your joy is. It'll make your nervous system feel good. It'll make your body tingle like the hair standing on end.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just coming into harmony with self.
So find what she's saying is find what is activating you, and whether that's who knows what. Is it GameStop stocks? Because I think that redlines you
that's an obsession.
Into an anger.
Not anger. It's just more of, we'll talk about that one.
Sorry.
It's an obsession.
Oh, shoot.
That's more of just a lifelong hypocrisy obsession. You said this and I don't believe it.
Watching a real conspiracy unfold.
It is in real time.
It's interesting.
It's a fun one.
Celebrate and lift up artists. I could not agree with you more. All one same.
Yeah. Well, and even like the whole the thought of, well, music has to be this way, or how, you know, whatever sense of that. I could be very happy just playing around a campfire like we did at the Serpent Mountain thing, you know, where it's,
that was fun.
I can be in that kind of moment where it's just having that interaction, yeah, it was fun to play in a band and do stuff like that, write my own music. I still do get moments where like, yeah, I have a song in my head. I'm going to write that down. You know, that's the one thing I will say has always been peculiar to me is like, it just turns on. Like there's a radio station and you start hearing music and then you're like, well, I'd rather it sounds this way. And then it just changes and you're like, okay, that's kind of nice too. And it's interesting.
You're good at that.
It's interesting.
But you don't do that enough. I think you need to do that more.
Yeah.
Personally.
Bring it on, bub. I want to do more of that stuff.
You tell him. I've been trying to coax and promote.
Get more on the music.
Yes.
Well,
that's like I said. That's your real gift. I don't know what makes you happy enough to want to just dive all into, and it might not be, you know. I think you thought you've taken music to a certain point, but I think there's a point with music that you haven't even seen yet that you're gonna take it to.
That might get me excited about it again.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
We got to figure that part out.
Amel, help me over here. Kim, I see you in the chat. Help me over here. Stooky, I see you in the chat.
The more you do what you love, it only crystallizes even more. So it's like a manifestation. One of the things that I had given like randomly in the middle of the night was, it's like focus of intent enhances your reality to bring it into fruition of what you wish.
Right.
But you have to really see it, feel it.
Right.
And like my boyfriend have written a great song, which we'll share in the near future, but it's literally that, you know, and he's been toying with himself in many ways, self-doubt, but you think your way out of it.
Yeah. I appreciate that. We will at some point. Like,
idea.
Go ahead.
I just had an amazing
Go ahead.
idea.
What you got?
Amel, how about this? With our sound immersion therapy tonight, we focus Bub's intention with the sound, right?
What do I have to do here?
What's your intention? You keep saying, I don't know what I want to focus on, what I want to do. That's your intention.
I have to pick something?
No, you just ask for
ask for intention.
Or what would you recommend, Amel? Just from based off what Bub's been telling you the last.
So what we do for what we do before we even go into the sound journey is that what is the thought that comes to mind? What is at the forefront? And put that as an intention and visualize it, feel it, and just see yourself doing it. And as simple as that. And then I'll play the music and you can just revel in that imagination like you do, Bob. You imagine many scenarios. That would be it, as simple as that.
Cool.
Bingo.
I'm down with that. That sounds fine.
And I'll do my own intention.
Yeah.
And all you out there.
That's really cool.
When we get to that point, we'll all do an intention.
I feel like if I had an analogy for it, my brain feels like a radio station that is always on like scan. And it's just like you get 3 seconds of the song or station, then you get 3 seconds of the song or station, then you get three, you know.
WBUB-FM.
Yeah, yeah. And then you go to the next one. WKKMRI.
Oh, I've been around you when your brain has been a radio station
non-stop.
Where you've talked 24 hours straight after not seeing you for a very long time, and then you talked for a whole day straight.
I've learned that I'm an interesting conversation because I can talk to Mike and Kyle and Matt all day long and they can handle me, right? Like they've gone to the training school of just ADD thought that comes out of my brain.
Oh God.
And then I get into conversations where people aren't well versed in it or haven't been exposed to it in a while. And I'm like, oh, I'm a lot.
Oh,
I'm a lot for people. Like I say things and don't think about it because conversation to me it's all in conversation. Like there is the whole arena of conversation is always open to me. Like everything is in the
oh yeah.
It's all ready to be gained. Like
there is no self. We are the only species that have this whole conceptualizing of how could I put it? If you look at a dog doesn't know it's a dog. It just is. And it lives life without too much thought. It just still has its experiences and it's coming from pure consciousness.
Right.
So the less you put identity onto what you think of yourself, the better you will flow with the things that you enjoy, because you're not going to stifle yourself. I should be doing this. Oh, I should be more like that. No, they're
See,
just ideas.
that's what I do too much.
Boom.
That's what I do too much. I'm like,
She's tuned in,
oh,
bud.
I should be doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Can't compare yourself. You got to find
I'm not doing this. I'm
your
not taking,
vibe,
right. But
your groove.
That's an interesting thing, because I've always kind of had that quandary. I remember even my first couple years of work, like some of the girls I would work with, because I would be like, man, like I can't, because whatever. I didn't really think I was like quote unquote a catch, right? And they were like, well, you got a job and you're this age, this, that. And I'm like, but I am also like failing at this edge. I'm never going to put my pros in the pro category. I will always put the cons in the con category. And it reminds me of how I always used to describe a job I had, where I was like, you always know when you mess up. They're always going to tell you when you did a bad job, but they might not tell you when you did a great job. And they're probably not going to tell you when you did an exceptional job. And that's the whole thing. Probably a good, just myotic teaching self-help thought I just had of like, as much as I can kick myself, I should probably put some positives in the positive column as well. Because if you're only filling up one bucket, like you're going to find out real quick, like it just doesn't balance out the scales real well. That's interesting. Just mind-blowing.
Just be.
Fair enough.
That's it.
Fair enough.
Just be.
Fair enough. No.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. I'm down with it.
You can do it, bub. I believe in you.
Oh,
They're all telling you can
almost
do
gotta
it.
take deep breaths to do it.
You can do it.
You can do it.
Stooky's in there, egging you on.
I know it. Sleeping in a wheelbarrow.
So's
I
your
did
wife.
that once. I used to sleep in a wheelbarrow.
Slept on a barrel.
No, I slept in a wheelbarrow. What
Many
you do is
times.
you put the handles down.
Oh, I'm aware.
Yeah,
I've
it
slept in
turns
a
into
wheelbarrow.
a chair.
I've slept in a
I,
wheelbarrow or two.
I slept in an old people's home as well in 2015 on a tiny little couch. I nearly fell off a few times.
Oh boy.
What? How did that come about?
Oh.
That was one of my favorite jobs. I was a nursing assistant in a nursing home. That was a really, really enjoyable. I'm not going to say where, because I did some questionable things there. Nothing that would have put anybody at jeopardy, but that time that I sang the Lollipop Guild for that man's birthday with the helium balloon was a good day.
Jeez.
That happened.
Oh.
I just remember him being like, you're the oddest kid I've ever met. I was like, I
bet he
appreciate that
loved
as a compliment. I'm going to take that and run.
Oh my gosh.
My nursing instructor in school at the time was like, don't tell anybody that story. I was like, it's fine. Everybody was fine. They all got snacks.
Looked frowned upon, maybe.
No.
okay.
Best job ever.
Yeah.
Best job ever. I knew everybody like every hall, every resident.
I'm sure you
growing up in
did.
a small town, we know everybody. So
Yeah.
like translated to that as well. So like, if they had the salon open and everybody's getting their hair done, you told them, oh, your hair looks really nice today. Oh,
Yeah.
and they'd be very excited.
The beauty shop.
Oh, yeah.
Every town had the beauty shop.
Oh, yeah.
That's kindness right there. That was nice.
I like people. I really like people. I think we talked about it again. Like, what do I really want? Well, I like interacting with people. And again, we did something this weekend.
So we're on the right track with this
And
show
did
a
the
little
same
bit.
thing, yeah.
As part of what you want to do. I think you're doing a lot. If that's part of it,
This is what fulfills part of that contract
Yeah.
for me, that I need
It's not all of
interaction
it,
with
though.
society.
yeah, it's not all of it.
But it's really weird. Yeah. It's strange because of how much life has shifted in the last year and a half, of going from a lot of different, interaction during the day to I get maybe a little less than normal, but I don't know, it's just interesting because I never imagined that I would do a job for 30 years or 40 years like our parents did. You punch
No.
in and punch out.
No.
And said like that
I could never see
concept
it.
doesn't make sense to me.
No.
I can't imagine.
So here we go. This is a good segue into our intentional sound immersion with Emel.
Yes.
Emel, whatever you want to start with, but I think it would be incredible to get us up to speed a little bit on some of the sound therapy that you've been doing, and if you could give us a demonstration. What do you think?
Sure, I'd love to.
Yes.
I have my bowl and I have my flute, And I do have a guitar lately. If we get enough time, I'll maybe give a snippet of a song that I'm working on for the album and the GoFundMe aspect of things. And it's a community driven album. It's not about me, it's a collective to bring in conscious music to uplift through words and meaning. So
Wonderful.
I'll start with a bowl.
Very cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate you.
All right, everyone. So just close your eyes and wherever you're sitting, taking a few deep breaths, deepening the awareness within. How is your heart beating? Inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Just allowing this relaxing feeling to wash over you from head to toe. Almost like gentle rain, starting from the top of your crown, moving downwards. And as the trickling, delicate raindrops move through your being, feeling it washing away out of your toes. Inhaling, exhaling, and just being. Whatever thoughts come into mind, let them just pass through like clouds in the sky. Hands heavy, relaxing your jaw, your thighs, your forehead, your feet, feeling into your heartbeat and visualizing a light of life force energy growing, and just fantasizing your intention, feeling your joy expanding like a screen.
Whoa,
Jeepers.
bro! Holy, there was some things happening there when the bowl in Emel's voice was like that last portion there, when that harmony as they resonate back and forth,
Yeah.
it just like reverberates back and forth, or they start, getting on the same wavelength. I described that, what's going on there, because that was wild.
Oh,
That was strange.
I completely agree.
So there obviously the hertz, 1 hertz per second, and what's happening is I'm singing on top of another wave, and within the wave, the higher frequency that I hit, there is a lower tone. I discovered this lower tone when I sing in different registers. It was kind of like discovered by accident. And that is the invisible tone that can actually harmonize, synchronize through your body, because your ears are hearing something that's being counterplayed
Right.
by just two tones. I'm actually physically making a tone with a physical bowl, and through these two physical entities, another sound is being found, the third triangle, the other aspect.
Wow.
That is what that is. And I
That
use
makes
this in my attunement to find that harmony.
Right.
That's intense.
Feels very like just clears your brain out a little bit.
I feel like you were on to that the last time we had Emel on, and she did a sound immersion for us, but I don't think you had it that tuned up, right? Like, I feel like you've taken it
To another
the
level.
next level, man.
Yeah.
That was because it was literally resonating here around me. I'm wearing headphones. It's not like I have
You feel charged up.
Bose speakers in front of me.
Yeah.
But I could feel my whole head and
Like your body starts
resonated,
humming.
because you can hear that lower end, because she's singing, the bowls are high pitched, but there's this lower resonating
Right.
sound that you're hearing along with it all too.
Right.
But it's all overlaid, and it's
I'm glad you heard that. I'm glad you heard that and felt that, and that you felt what you felt. This is the magic of sound, and I'm so glad that you guys received
Oh,
that
absolutely.
and encouraged that on your show.
oh my gosh, amazing.
Anybody that hasn't had
not
that
to
experience, that's what I was
encourage?
saying. Like, if you haven't had that experience, like,
Yeah.
have more of them. Go find more, do this more, because it is good for you, But yeah,
And we got a
I
lot of
definitely
comments the
appreciate
last
those.
time
Yeah.
she did the sound immersion. People loved it.
Yeah.
People were hitting me up. My sister was hitting me up like, "Oh my God, that's crazy! Like that episode was so
Absolutely.
amazing. That
Absolutely.
sound immersion, I've never heard anything like that." Boy, yeah, you're onto something here,
Yeah.
big time.
They can experience it if they come to Costa Rica, Chiripo, in person, if they want to come away on a holiday,
go.
I do vocal activation classes, so it would be like a killing two birds with one stone experience.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and if you haven't gone, Costa Rica is fantastic. I mean, that's such a cool. I couldn't imagine, because like that would be coupling so many things together, of just great food, great wildlife, great just visuals and just sounds, and just I still really have to go back, like more than once.
There is another little thing that I want to share with you all, and if I have time, I'd like to play something on the guitar lately.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
It's a part of what we do, because the words that have been coming through has actually been from spirit or from the cosmos. And I won't sing the whole thing, because obviously I'm developing everything. I want everyone to be involved and excited and come on board when we launch. So I'll just give you a little sneak peek. Do you want me to play the flute still?
Yeah, we have plenty of time. Plenty of time. If you would like, no pressure, but we're loving it. I know I am.
Of course.
I know these guys
I'm
all out here
Yeah.
loving it.
It's lovely to share. So let's see. This is what I do in the studio: one ear on, one ear off, so I can really hear myself. So I've been playing this guitar lately for a very short while. So bear with me if I make a few mistakes. born brothers and sisters of luminance. We are the race of colors. We are of God consciousness. We are the light, born brothers and sisters of luminance.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Very
man.
nice.
That was so cool. Wow, that thing sounds great too.
I like the tone on that.
That's
yeah.
really, really nice sound. And you said you've only been playing that for a little bit, like a few months?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'd say about 5.
Sounding great.
Yeah, it sounds
Love
very
that.
nice.
So you're working on trying to put together an EP or an album? You working on a few songs?
It's not I'm trying, it's just happening.
Yeah.
And it is
They're
a
just starting to
choice
write
that was
themselves.
made for me. Yeah. So my partner and a friend of mine who is in a band himself had encouraged me song after song to keep doing what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then each song that I had sung in, kirtans and in our ceremonies and events, they've had a big impact on people. And they're like, oh, when are you going to work on your album? I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, like what? Okay. And then every time I'm just in resistance slightly because I'm not chasing anything, but the songs want to be heard.
Yeah.
So the fact that they want to be heard and people are enjoying them, I'm going to create a community project for people to come on board to contribute. And it's up to the community and the people for it to get out there to the world. Because in the music industry, it's more challenging for an artist as a solo artist to get their music out there. And I'm not there to be a solo artist.
Right.
I'm to be a representative of awakening change, transformative music for change, for the better, for positivity. And that's kind of what I'm putting together at the moment.
Love it.
That's really cool.
Well, the songs want to be written. You might as well write them. Put it out there. I'm enjoying it. Whatever comes out of this project, I know I'll be ready to listen. And
Right.
we do have time for the High Spirit Flute. If you wanted to still play that, we're all ears.
Yeah.
You guys having a good time out there? I know they're loving this. I know Relo's
Give us
loving
the
this.
shout
He's
out online.
Rolo's just chilling. He loves it. He just wants a lap. But I'm digging it. I love the flute too. The flute's so laser focused.
Oh, I love the flute, man. Especially that guy. It's so crazy.
Now, through our breath, we create form, and which is sound. In the High Spirit flute is this one's made from the cedar tree. There is someone I know who actually makes flutes out of a tree that has been hit by lightning and uses the tree wood to actually make his flutes.
Very cool.
I think you can find, if you're in the States, you can buy, is it Lone Bears Arts Flutes, if you're interested in getting a great instrument that's finely tuned.
Absolutely.
So here we go. Just close your eyes or keep them open and just take a deep breath in and out. With all the noise around you, wherever you are in the world, just let that be happening. Inhaling, exhaling. Allowing your hands to completely relax and feel the tips of your fingers. I want you to focus on the tips of your fingers. Inhaling and exhaling.
Whoa.
Jeez,
Wow.
flutes.
Wow. Hello. Oh, wow. And that one particularly has a magical sound.
That sounds so good.
That flute is incredible. I
It
know
has
you
that
have
like low rumble edge on the bottom of it. Like, so it reminds me of the bowl, of how it has the multiple frequencies. Yes. Yep.
Man, that's wild.
So I was like, is it just me? It's not just me.
Well, ancient people, man, these flutes,
They knew what they were doing.
They
what
knew.
was up. They knew it wasn't just
Right?
music too. They knew it
No,
was
and I would
interdimensional.
agree 100%. That's music, but it's much more than music.
Yeah. I
It's
think-
kind of like your
Harmony, yeah.
well, your reference of food being like almost like a download. That's almost like a download.
Yes.
It doesn't
Yes.
just feel like music.
I got
It's so-
downloaded. My brain feels full of
I got downloaded.
many
I'm
times.
glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad that you asked for me to play, and it was a pleasure to play
Oh, man.
here
Fantastic.
with you guys.
Yes, we love your abilities.
I feel like
your
we're spoiled every
creativity.
time.
I know,
Right?
I know. It feels like we robbed the fun bank.
Yeah.
You know,
Give me everything. Give me the flute.
We get
Give me the
everything.
guitar lately. Give me the singing bowls. I want it all.
give me all.
Yeah, you had snippets. You had little glimpses of each thing.
It's great.
And it was lovely to share it.
Well, now I understand of when are you getting the album out?
Yeah, right.
I
Yeah.
get it.
Imagine
Of everybody that's asking you that, going, "When's the album?" And you're going, "What
Playing
are you
that
talking
live.
about?" I get it. I get it. I get now what Mikey's saying too. They look at it and they go, "Why aren't you?" And it's like watching a bird fly or a fish swim. Like, it's very natural. So
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you, Bob. I like that.
absolutely.
That was nicely said. Thank you.
Oh man, this is great. I knew it would be. We've been stoked since we started putting this together last week.
Yeah.
And we were going to do a recording. Just so you guys know out there, we were supposed to record this on Thursday and do a premiere today.
Thursday or Friday?
Thursday or Friday. I can't
Whatever it
remember.
was last week.
And I don't know if you were getting weather, but the internet and power was going out where you were. And so we decided to reschedule it and was like, hey, live stream.
Yeah.
If you're available on Monday, we could do a live stream. So it worked out.
Just keep trying
All
to
of you
make
guys
it work.
out there.
Yeah.
Special treat. Live
Oh, I'm
treat.
so glad we got to do it, and everyone else got to tune in at the same time.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, you can't beat it. Can't beat it at all. But yeah, you guys are awesome out there. All one same. Who do we all have in here? Victor. You guys have been hanging out with Bub's wife.
I don't know how to say that one name. Inse?
Is that someone you know maybe? Emel?
At the end there? Is your music on Spotify?
Well,
or
I'm
anything?
grateful
Somewhere?
to.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Good question.
It is. It is. So I have my music on Spotify, Emel Michael, without Lauviah, and there's some stuff on YouTube if you want to see some of the videos. But there will be more in the works, which you can. I actually post a lot more on Instagram. I'm very active on my stories. I am active with people that reach out to me. So if you want to DM me, please, reach out. I think it's important that we don't turn anyone away. We're here to be kind, communicate, and connect.
Very well put.
Fantastic. And also let everybody know where they can get your book.
Yeah.
If there's anything else that you want to plug or have coming up or want to promote, please do.
So I have several books on Amazon. So if you go to Amazon today and type in Emel Michael, you may come up with some songs. But also, if you want to be really specific, you can just type up Where the Wild Herbs Grow and Wonders of the Universe and type in my name, Emel Lauviah Michael. And also with this one here, The Enchanting Way, Diary of a Rainforest Adventurer and Messages from the Stars. You can actually find my author profile and you'll see I've got coloring books, wellness coloring books, and some poetry if you want to just keep yourself occupied. If you're in the office and you want to, escape the world, I kind of did that for those who might need it because I used to do that back in the day.
Awesome.
There
Great
you
stuff.
go, guys. And all those links are in the description. Go check those out. Go connect with Emel. This has been a fantastic episode. Emel,
Absolutely.
is there anything at all that you want to leave with our guests? Any particular message that's been coming very strongly through? I know we went through a lot, but the floor is yours.
Don't overthink. It's okay to do nothing sometimes. Try not to get angry with yourself. If you find that you've got a lot in your mind, just go on a walk. Take your shoes off and walk on the earth, no matter what the weather. Be kind, be compassionate to your friends and family members, even to those who may have hurt you in the past. Learn to forgive, and it's okay. And I just want to say thank you so much to the Stranger Road podcast on YouTube for having me, but also having many other people on their platform to be advocates for change, to encourage people like me to have a voice. I'm truly honored. To you both, Bob and Mike, and to also your team back there who is doing an amazing job. Thank you. Also, thank you to my partner, Dermot, who has been my rock. Dermot, I love you very much.
Oh, yes.
Shout out to Dermot.
Oh, yeah, and to my family. And to my family.
Yep. Absolutely. It takes everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot going on there.
You need a lot of support to pursue your passions and dreams and to get on a path like Emel, for sure.
Yep.
Gosh, this has been awesome, guys. We appreciate you so very much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
Lauviah, Michael, everybody. Thank you again. And don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We're going to do a quick outro, but we'll come back and chat and say a proper goodbye. Thank you so much.
Bye, Mel.
Bye.
There you go, guys. Man.
So there we go.
There you go.
Sometimes it's like nailing Jello to the wall to get the date down. Not with just her, but with other guests as well. We just it's not all on her. We've had some tricky situations here, and feeling like we're playing podcast twister of trying to red hand on yellow, left hand on blue, and
that's a great way to describe
it. Is. It's been in
podcast twister. What a bub.
Well, and we came out of the holidays, and I got sick over the holidays, so it's been. It's been almost since like mid-December.
Well, we haven't live streamed
since we felt like we were
interviews since Halloween. DA.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's been a minute since we've had a live show like this to have a guest on as well. Like it was really good.
Killer episode.
I'm sure, and just from the chat going off, people loved it. They really enjoyed the performances as always. Which obviously, I think if we're sitting here enjoying them like we are, you're at home. You've got to be having a good time. That's so cool.
No doubt.
And check out Emel's stuff. Check out her
Emel's
Instagram.
books.
Like she said, that's one of her most active sites to get some traffic and throw her some comments, throw her some likes.
Yep.
And check out her work.
Absolutely. And check out the creators that are always coming in and stopping by. We got Burton from Local Legends, Necromechanimal. Make sure you go follow him on Instagram. He does all kinds of dope art for our show and other people throughout the podcast verse. And I know there were some other people that I'm not sure that were in there, but all you guys out there chasing mound builders, Born Not to Run, anybody watching, listening, in whatever country you're in.
We appreciate you.
We know Ohio's been bringing it strong lately. California, Washington, New York.
It's wild.
All the states where, we seem to be getting a lot of traction. All you new listeners, thank you so very much for coming and hanging out with us. We're trying to bring you amazing people like Emel, and we're all over the place. We're not going to do just one thing. I'm sorry. If you came to, we have lots of cryptid episodes. We have lots of paranormal episodes. But if you came just for cryptid, sorry.
Yeah.
We don't do just one thing. We're all over the map. But we hope a lot of you guys stick with us through these episodes. And we just continue to follow our passions and what we're interested in. And hopefully you guys enjoy it too.
Yeah.
But you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. You guys know what to do. Write those reviews. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell here in YouTube. It is so very important. Follow us everywhere else, and don't forget Frogman Fest, guys.
There you go.
March
got the flyer.
March 2nd, Loveland, Ohio. Great little spot.
Shut
Never
up.
seen. What's that?
Alien lobster. Sorry, but are you really in Antarctica, alien lobster? If you're not in Antarctica.
Hello from Antarctica.
We're going to need proof of you being in Antarctica and being at the pyramids of Antarctica.
Absolutely. Frogman Fest sponsors our Loveland Magazine, Small Town Monsters, Holly Who Art, and that's right, baby, The Strange Road.
Heck yeah.
Some of our friends are going to be speaking there. James Willis, Jeffrey Wilson, Ashley Hilt, all of them will be speaking. We're not sure what their presentations are about, but that's part of the fun of it. We're going to be out there. We have a vendor booth. And we're also going to be helping out in the AV room, making everything look and sound great in there.
Looking to crush it again. Yeah.
So we hope to see you. Make it enjoyable. Come on out. Bubble talk your ear off.
Going to get at it.
We're signing out. Much love again to Stoner and Disbro and all of you in the chat.
They're the best.
peace, love, and chicken grease.
Say goodnight, Rolo.
We're out. Oh, and I almost forgot.
Say goodnight, Bojo.
Good night,
Say goodnight,
Rolo.
buddy.
He's gonna sleep good tonight.
He was trying to get on my lap during the sound bath. He was like, let me get up there.
He thought he knew something.
Didn't you? You said, man.
Oh man.
Looks like fun.